Hello, North Country, and welcome to a special edition of Goose Meets the Coach. This evening, we're at the Champlain Valley Fitness and Health Center right here in Plattsburgh, and we're going to wrap up our show tonight talking with head coach of the Lake City Stars, Ed McAllister. We're going to go over the season and maybe talk about a few other things and see where that takes us. So we'll start off, Coach, and from me knowing you, okay, maybe some people would say that this season was a success, but I'm not sure you're quite happy the way it ended out.
I knew you were going to ask me if we had a successful season. We went 4-6, and obviously if you look at it compared to last year, going 1-9, you say, okay, well, you're taking steps in the right direction, which we are. We could just as easily have been 9-1. So we lost 5 games by a total of 20 points, 2 of those by 6, 1 by 4, 1 by 3, and 1 by 1. So we were in every game we played. So when you look at it that way, it was a successful season. At the start of the season, obviously, if somebody would have said 4-6, are you going to be happy? That's not what I wanted to be. Ultimately, we wanted to be in the playoffs and win a championship. That didn't happen, but if you judge success upon improvement year to year, this is an improvement, and we're headed in the right direction. But it wasn't the goal that we wanted at the end of the season.
And we're going to talk about the season a little bit. I know you were happy with the numbers that turned out for practice, and you had good practice, but boy, you didn't start off on the right foot that first game, losing your starting quarterback.
Yeah, we talked about this, and when Duke went down on the first play of our first offensive series of our first preseason game, I was about ready to leave. Craig is not only a great football player, but he's a leader of our football team. And when he went down, you just felt like you just got kicked right in the stomach, and it sent a feeling through the team that wasn't a good feeling. I mean, the guys were questioning, like, why am I doing this? I mean, that quick, everything went from being goal of a championship to how are we ever going to compete this year? And so losing Duke was a tremendous blow early on in the year. The first play, like I said, of our first offensive series. Fortunately for us, we had another Peru guy in the background.
Pleasant surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. I say in the background, we didn't even have him on the team when Craig went down. But Chris Trombley, as you well know, and then those that follow us realize that we were able to bring Chris in and get him some reps the following week. However, he didn't play in our preseason game against Burlington, and his first snaps were against our season opener against Glove City's Colonials. And, Chris had a nice year, a real nice year.
I agree. I think he could be a top quarterback in this league.
There's no doubt. I mean, he possesses skills that, you don't see many guys playing at this level that haven't gone and played college ball first, or some even play arena ball. Chris has got an outstanding feel for the game. He has a strong arm. He's got a smart mind. He's got great legs. The sky is the limit for Chris. He can go as far as he wants to go with this thing and lead us. We really can get on his back and ride him. He's a great quarterback, and as long as he stays with us, our future seems pretty bright.
And a very good leader from talking to him, very positive attitude, and looks like he's having fun.
He is. Chris is, he's a well-rounded individual that doesn't get caught up in the excitement of, he doesn't feel that he's bigger than the game. A lot of people know that Chris was to go on to Ithaca and play college, and there were some things there that Chris didn't believe in, as far as the hazings and this, that, and the other thing, and therefore his love for football he put on the shelf. He chose to follow his beliefs and stay with his beliefs as opposed to cashing everything and say, well, I'll just play. I don't care what I morally stand for. I'll play football. But he didn't. He quit playing for his beliefs, and we must be doing something right because he stuck with us all year. So that's a positive thing for our organization and our players.
I agree. Now, I didn't see all your games because we didn't go on the road and follow you. But, boy, the games at home, Ed, very competitive games, knocking off every top team that came up fell one game short of sweeping, every game at home by just a couple points. You got to be happy the way they played here at home.
I was elated. I mean, to be at home and, always you want to play well in front of your home fans and, be competitive and put a good product out there. But for us to go 4-1 at home during the regular season, and let's not forget who we played in the regular season. We played the now 4-time defending Buffalo Gladiators that they won the division and the championship again this year. We defeated them here 9-7. Rochester Renegades came in here undefeated. We beat them 10-0. The Mohawk Valley Vikings came in here. We beat them 34-7, another playoff team. And Schenectady Metro Magic we beat here. That was our first win of the season for us. And our only loss coming the last game of the season for us to the league regular season champ, Glove City's Colonials, who went 8-1-1, and they defeated us 15-14. And we literally lost that game by about 1.5 foot on the last pass. And, for a guy that's not in practice, he's in college, Chris, he and Heath hooked up pretty well that game. So to miss by 1.5 foot, I'll take that.
Me too. But I'm concerned about on the road. Is it that your regulars aren't going on the road trips, or things just didn't go your way because didn't do well on the road?
That's always at this level of play, traveling is a huge part of your success. How well you travel, obviously, is how well you're going to do at this level. Not to make excuses because, the old cliche, losers make excuses, but when we traveled to Schenectady Metro Magic, that was a trap waiting for us. We had come off 2 wins. We had beaten them here, and I just knew by playing at this level of play for a few years that you don't always see the same people on the road that you do when they come to your place. So I knew Schenectady was going to have some better players down there. Unfortunately for us, the quarterback, who was 0 for 12 throwing the football up here, lit us up down there, threw 2 touchdown passes and a 2-point conversion. We were missing both our starting corners and our starting free safety, which in turn is our place kicker also. So that one hurt. Mohawk Valley beat us 21-0. 3 of our starting backs, first, second, third string tailbacks aren't going. They can't play. They're hurt. 3 of our defensive linemen, Beefy, Staley, Jerry Defiant, they can't make the trips. So there was a pattern. The only game we traveled at full strength was the Central New York Express. And at that game, Dave Staley and Jeff Way, who coach at Saranac now, made the trip arriving just before halftime, drove out on their own after coaching a high school game. And that game ultimately was decided with a 28-yard field goal with 2 minutes and 23 seconds left in overtime. They defeated us 9-6. CNY went on to play for the championship. So, it's not that I was disappointed in the way that we played on the road. It was just, when we had everybody there at full strength, we were strong. When we didn't, we were, had to work things a little bit. But even with those games, with the exception of the Mohawk Valley game, we never got beat by less than 6 points. 6 points or more. We never got beat by more than 6 points. Every game was 6 or less. So that was a positive thing.
Word was in the league, when you're going to play the Lake City Stars, you better buckle up your chin strap. Your team played very well and very emotional football, I found, this year, a lot more than last year.
Yeah, that was the noticeable difference, I think, is that we had a real feel of team and unity. And that comes from obviously from your captains, the leaders on the football field, but it also comes from each and every player having a belief in one another and knowing that if I make a mistake, I got 10 other guys out there that are going to pick it up for me. And I got 10 other guys that aren't going to point the finger at me and say, geez, what'd you miss that tackle for? Why'd you throw that interception? Or why'd you fumble that ball? Everybody's there to pick each other up. And that was a positive thing, and that helped us a lot. It helped us stay together when things could have easily unraveled. When Duke went down in the first game, we could have just fell apart. But guys stuck together and believed in one another, and we found a way to be very competitive in every game we played and win 4 along the way.
Now, you touched on a few names, and today, knowing that I was going to be here, I'm thinking of some of the players, and some key players on your team, like Dave Staley and Beefy Way and Jerry Defiant and Steve St. Clair. How important are they to have these type of players on your roster?
Obviously, from a talent standpoint, it's immense that if we can't afford to lose that much talent at one time from a playing standpoint. Also, they're natural leaders on the football field. So that's a big void to fill. Hopefully, all's not lost. Hopefully they're not all ready to sit in rocking chairs during the summer and, cast the fishing line. I've talked to Dave Staley personally. Dave still has the fire to play. We got to work on his wife a little bit. Beefy, Jeff Way, as he's coaching at Saranac, so his time's going to be a little bit more hard to come by, but I know his wife would like to see him still play, and I know Beefy still has the fire to play. And Jerry will be a father soon here, he's expecting, and as far as I understand, Jerry's training to play next year. Steve St. Clair has mentioned that he's retiring and going to, hang his cleats up. But at our banquet Saturday night, Steve informed me that the fire is still there with him also. And our trump card might be if his brother Matty stays and plays ball with us, then it's going to be hard to keep Steve off the football field.
I agree. I agree.
One St. Clair's good, two's real good.
Okay, we covered some of the season this year, and my question to you is, maybe a lot of people think, oh, this is just a summer thing that these guys and the coach does, but tell our fans, I know it. You work year-round for this organization.
Well, it's about the players, and no matter what you're doing as far as a coach, no matter what level you're coaching, if you want your players to put forth an effort, then the coaching staff better put forth an effort. I'm very lucky to do what I do here. I love being around these guys. I love having the opportunity to be competitive, yet not physically still be able to do it, to be a part of it. I think I've been here since '97, and I think we're really, really starting to mature and realize that we do want to win. We don't just want to go out there during the summer and just play games and pick up and, whatever happens. That's why we're sitting here tonight. We've signed on here with the Champlain Valley Fitness and Health Center. Bobby Durgam has gotten with us. This is going to be our home during the winter, and guys are in here and they're already working out during the winter, during the off season to get better for next year. So they're working hard too, and I'm just, like I said, I'm lucky to be here, and I like being here. And I said at the beginning of this year, if I couldn't win games with these guys that were here, I would walk away and we'd find somebody else. I'm not ready to cut my leash yet. We're 4-6 this year. After going 1-9 last year, losing 9 in a row. It's not bad. It's not Coach of the Year, but it's not bad. We're headed in the right direction. So I think I still got another year left on my contract, even though I hold the contract and write the contract.
Good one. Well, Coach, what about the people that you surrounded yourself with, your coaching staff? I think one of the best in the league, if not the best.
Again, that's a good point, because none of those guys get paid, all right? Yeah. None of those guys get to put on the pads. None of those guys get to put on a helmet. And none of those guys get to go run around and smack people. Those are the guys that the players come off and are not cursing, but geez, what are we running this for? What are we running that for? And we're, the coaches are the guys that are trying to make things work out there. And Dave Hackett's my defensive coordinator. Dave's he came on board with the team in '99. He worked extremely hard. Dave takes game film, breaks it down, puts together packages, brings it in. We run things through during the summer that this is what this team predominantly does. We know what they're going to do before they do it. Puts a lot of time and effort in it. He's a full-time correction officer, has a wife and a son, so he's taking time away from his family. Al Brinson has been here since the inception of this thing as a player. Now he's my line coach. Al had visions of coming back and playing this upcoming season. Unfortunately, I think has a rotator cuff injury that's going to keep him out, and I'm kind of glad. I don't want to see the guy go out there and not that he couldn't do it, but again, he's married and got a son, and he's been away from the game physically, hitting. I don't, and besides that, I don't want to lose him as a line coach. I like having him as my line coach. He does a good job with the guys, and again, he's not paid. On his days off, he comes into practice, takes swaps so he can get to the games, as does Coach Hackett. So I'm fortunate that those guys have a care for football, and my special teams coach is Jeff Hickey. Again, I'll beat the point in the ground, but none of those guys are paid. Coach Hickey puts a tremendous amount of time in it also. And special teams coaches are a unique breed. They, they get very few shots a game to shine with what they teach. And Jeff's a very emotional guy, very high-strung, and he's done well with our special teams. And it showed early through the season. We, with the exception of the Schenectady Metro Magic punt return run back for a touchdown, when we had everybody in practice through the brunt of the season until we got into college time, we were strong on special teams because we practiced it every week, and that's a tribute to Coach Hickey. And I want to mention also Coach Jim Godfrey, who unfortunately wasn't able to provide the whole season of his knowledge to us, but he was there at the beginning of the season to help Coach Hackett on the defense. And Coach Godfrey is a tremendous talent, and he's a great man, and I'm fortunate to know him and have him come in and volunteer his time likewise. So those guys, I mean, without those guys, we're going to be nothing. You know, the head coach is always the guy that sits here. The head coach is always the guy that does the interviews, but it's, you know, you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with, and those guys work hard, and they're not done yet neither. We still got some work to do, so we want to win a championship.
So it looks like your coaching staff is going to come back next year?
Absolutely, 100%.
Now, what if somebody is watching this show tonight and says, geez, I'd like to, get involved in that. What does that person have to do to contact you?
They can contact me, and the easiest way to do that is to go to our website. It's www.lakecitystars.com, and you can go on there. You can get my phone number. You can get mailing address. You can get information on what it takes to play, where we play at, the league we play in, which we may not be in that league next year, but we can talk about that. But if somebody's serious about playing, then they can contact me, and I'll meet with them during the winter, and I'll tell them this is what it takes, this is what's required of you financially, here's what you can expect, and here's what we expect. I mean, I don't want guys that want to come in and just be hometown heroes. I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but I don't want guys that are going to come in and say, well, I can play all the home games. I want guys that can dedicate and make the trips, and so we can be a team. Obviously, things come up during the course of a season where some guys might not be able to make it, that wasn't planned. But if a guy's already planning on not making the trips, then you don't have that team, cohesiveness. And we need to stay strong as a team and have everybody focused on being 100% committed.
And a person, if they never played football, are they disqualified from this, or could they come and talk to you?
That trick question, Andrew Brown.
Oh, okay.
Cableman.
Yeah.
Now, Andrew Brown graduated from Northeastern Clinton Central School, I believe is the correct way to say it. Brownie never played football in his life. He is one of our special teamers. He is constantly making things happen out on the football field. He's dedicated to this team. He works extremely hard for this team. He works full-time with you at Charter Cable. And he's just a great guy to have on the football team. He never gets down. He's always positive, and he's a tribute of what you can do if you really try. I mean, there's a guy that never played football in his life, but he comes in and he does a good job for us. So we're fortunate to have him. So yeah, just because a guy's never played before doesn't mean he doesn't have skills that he can, develop and get out there and play at this level.
So it doesn't disqualify him.
Absolutely not.
I like that. Well, you mentioned about the league. Let's talk about this league that you were in this year. You played very competitively, and and we've talked before on this that you're kind of leaning maybe try another league, maybe staying in this league. Anything to report on that?
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about that. And the first thing I want to say is the people that are watching this, I don't want them to think that we're fickle and we can't find a place to play and we're trying to do this and we're trying to do that. There were a lot of reasons behind our move last year. The number one reason was we had meetings during the winter. We didn't have people to play football. I mean, yeah, we had 20 guys that were dedicated to playing in the past years, but you can't play at this level no matter what league you're in with 20 guys. We would go to practice and we'd have 6, 8, 7 guys, 9 guys. So we would sit there and play two-hand touch or something along those lines and not be ready to go out and play a football game. So the decision was, it was a three-part decision. 1, we stay in the Empire Football League. 2, we go in the New York Amateur Football League. Or 3, we fold the organization. Obviously, I didn't want the third to happen. I didn't want a vote to just say, well, we stay where we are, but we keep doing the same things that we did. ultimately we moved to the New York Amateur Football League. We moved into that. The theory behind the New York Amateur Football League to some people is that the league is not as tough as other leagues, such as the Empire Football League. The New England Football League has a ranking system of A, AA, AAA. I found that the level of competition was parallel to the Empire Football League. Obviously, you get into some of the bigger cities, the Empire Football League, your Scrantons and Binghamtons, they can put some teams, but I'll tell you what, Buffalo obviously is doing something right to win 4 championships in a row, and then Buffalo has gone on last year, I think 2 years, and won the Harvest Bowl, which is a culmination of leagues, the Garden State Football League, the New England Football League, and the New York Amateur Football League. So obviously that's a talented football team. The Glove City Colonials were playing in the Harvest Bowl format right now, and they got beat last weekend by the Southern Maine Raging Bulls, which are of the Class AAA of the New England Football League. They're a level above the Vermont Ice Storm, and the Raging Bull beat the Glove City Colonials 22-21. The Colonials missed a field goal at the end of the game to win it. So there's your AAA level of the New England Football League. So the competition, I believe, is parallel. As far as the leagues themselves, I feel that the Empire Football League, obviously being a much older league, is much more established, much more organized. Seems to be a lot better line of communication in that league. This year we were faced with 2 game time switches on the road, one being I believe a 5 o'clock start in Rochester as opposed to the league bylaw 7:30 start. Another one was switched to 6 o'clock. So, I mean, there's no real, this is the way it is. The Empire Football League has been in contact with me for over 2 months now. They want us back in the Empire Football League. The thing that would be a considering factor for us would be, can we be competitive in that league? Are we going to get ourselves into a situation that is going to be same old, same old? The Northern Division, which would consist of the Montreal Condors, Watertown Red and Black, a new team which played this year, the St. Lawrence Valley Trailblazers, which is out of the Potsdam-Canton area, ourselves, the Glens Falls Green Jackets, and then a team out of Vermont. Perhaps there might be a new ball club forming over there known as the Green Mountain Gladiators. They've expressed interest in putting together a team and playing in the Empire Football League. That would be our Northern Division. Play 5 games at home, 5 games on the road. Already now, the positive thing is the expenses that we're going to incur on the road. We traveled this year, we spent probably $5,800 on a bus. Next year we're faced with going, if we stay in the NYFL, we're faced with going to Buffalo, we're faced with going to Hornell, we're faced with going to Rochester, we're faced with going to Syracuse, we're faced with going to Rome. Those are long trips, those are expensive trips. On top of that, the NYFL right now, there's a few teams that are supposedly not going to be allowed back in the league for different reasons. Rumor has it, again, everything's rumor, the Buffalo Gladiators are looking to go somewhere else perhaps. So all of a sudden you could be looking at a 6-team league there where you're going to all those gate places, and that's not a good thing either. So right now, it's not officially been made yet, the announcement, but we're strongly considering and strongly leaning towards the Empire Football League again.
Now, will this be a decision of the coaching staff or the decision of the team?
This is a decision that was decision that was made by the players. We had a banquet this past Saturday night, November 2nd, and we talked about it. And I talked with the guys, and we have got, take a look at the Peru Indians. We can play football up here. We got people that can play football up here. The Peru Indians are the defending Class B state champs, and hopefully they're in position now to start the run for, defend this thing and make it 2 in a row. Obviously, we can play football up here. The thing is guys have to understand that we have to be there the nights we practice. At no level, even this NYAFL, if anybody thought we won because we switched leagues, it's not that. We won because we switched the way we approached the games. We won because we came into practice, and we had good practices. We had organized practices, and we had things, that we wanted to accomplish, and we accomplished them. It wasn't that we went down in talent and played lesser teams. It was that we brought ourselves up, and that was a good thing.
Coach, I see you have a pamphlet full of statistics. Would you like to go over any of them in particular?
Sure. We could talk about that. Obviously, we'll start at the quarterback spot.
Okay.
Chris Trombley ended up this year, he attempted 132 passes. He completed 55 of those for 733 yards. He threw for 6 touchdowns, and he threw a total of 5 interceptions. Now, those numbers, that's about probably a 40% completion ratio, 42% completion ratio. But if you look at him, you got to remember, this kid came in here and started with us in July, basically. Okay, he didn't have from May on to get used to my offense, to get used to his receivers, to get used to everything. Not a bad job. 5 interceptions in 10 semi-pro games for a kid that hadn't taken a snap since 1999. I'll take that. Our leading rusher this year, Corey Lawyer, again, 123 attempts. He had 603 yards. He averaged 4.9 yards a carry with 3 touchdowns. Corey was hampered a little bit during the midseason stretch with a strained groin and a bad shoulder. He came on strong at the end of the season for us and ran the ball well. Against CNY, I think he ran the ball for 90 yards, which was an extremely tough defensive team. And against Glove Cities, he ran for 111 yards in our final season. So Corey's a good running back, runs hard. He's looking forward to next season, so that's a plus. As far as our leading, Heath Geiser was our big play receiver. Obviously, we lost Brian Kreitzberg, and that was a strong, thought of mine, or how we were going to fill those shoes of Brian's. And Heath came in nowhere near with the size that Brian possessed, but he was a good receiver, and Heath was not afraid to go anywhere on the football field and get the football. He ended up with 19 receptions for 279 yards, his longest being a 55-yard touchdown pass that you guys were there against Glove Cities.
Called it.
Yeah. And Heath ended up the season with 4 touchdowns. Another addition to the receiving core that we didn't expect to have this year came in, ended up starting the second game of the season for us against Irondequoit was Mark Burrell. Mark came in with Chris at that time, and Mark became our tight end. All right, that afforded us the opportunity to move Steve St. Clair to the linebacker. The rest of that's history. But Mark ended up leading the team with 22 receptions for 228 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns. I mean, Mark was a possession-type receiver, so that was a big thing. Steve St. Clair doubled as our place kicker and our punter, and also the linebacker. Steve led the league in punts. He averaged 43.7 yards a punt. That's on 29 kicks. I mean, Stevie can boot the ball, and he was strong with that. Defensively, this is something that you hope, you bet your linebackers better lead your team in tackles. And Brad Miller did just that. Brad led our team with 57 tackles. Billy Jost, the DN, was second in that with 48 tackles. Billy led the team with 6 sacks. Brent Coron, a rookie from Beekmantown, came in and had 5 sacks. So that was a strong year for Brent. Steve St. Clair, after moving to defense in the 4th game of the season because he was not there against Schenectady. He had a prior wedding commitment, and then he came in against Mohawk Valley. In that game, he had 2 interceptions and ran both of those back for touchdowns. So that really solidified our defense there. Joe Rockhill led the team with 3 interceptions. Also, Earl Parks from Beekmantown. Earl came in and had a strong year. He picked off 2 passes, and Earl, I believe, racked up 37 tackles. I mean, you didn't skirt Earl's corner. He came up and he laid it on you just like his brother used to do. And, it was fun to watch him play, and he's going to be better next year. So, all in all, I mean, things look well for next year. All these guys that I talk about, I feel are going to return. And they understand, like I said, that now we're starting to get a little more serious about it. Now we're in the gym. We're going to be working out there in the winter. We might do a few little agilities here and there, on a once-a-week basis, just to kind of keep our edge so when we do get outside, we're ready to go, and we're not trying to get up to speed. We're at speed, and then we start picking it up as we go.
I also noticed this season that the local fan base started coming back, that the crowds were a little bit bigger.
I've said it, and I had you guys, you read a nice statement for us our last game, and I truly mean this, that we are so blessed to have the coverage, to have you guys, to have the Press Republican covers the way they do. Even Channel 5 comes out on our games and covers us. And to have the fan base we have is incredible. People probably don't believe me when I say this, but we are the best covered, most supported team that I've seen in semi-pro ball. Everywhere we go, nobody has fans, the number of fans and the noise of the fans that we have in a supportive way. And it's a real plus to come here and have people support us. I truly hope that our fans don't think, oh, they're switching, it's going to be the same old, we're not going to go out to see them. We're going to play football, and we're going to play it well. And I expect an improvement upon this year. I want those fans that were here, and I want more to come out and say, this is a good brand of football. The guys go out there and they play football. It's not the NFL, but in some ways that's a good thing, because these guys are playing the game because they love it, and they're not getting paid.
Yes, and not getting paid is a key thing. They're doing it on their own free will.
You got to wonder sometimes, if we took an IQ test on that, I don't know if they're going to pass it, because why you'd want to go out there and for 3 hours basically beat each other like battering rams and have to get up. Tony Kipp had to go and stock shelves at let me get the right store so he doesn't get fired. I think they work at Hannaford. After one of our games, I think it was the Buffalo Gladiators, Kipper had to go in and work the midnight shift. He said, I switch my shifts from now on. I ain't working after the game. But I mean, that's the dedication of what we have there. These guys are, they're football players, but they're your correction officers, your school teachers, your I don't know all the jobs that these car salesmen, students up and coming, in the community, maybe political leaders. They're all kinds that play on this football team. They're your neighbors. These guys are good people. They're not only football players, but they're good, productive members of this community. And I'm lucky to be around them. I really enjoy being around these guys, and they're a great group of guys that make football fun. They make football fun.
They make it fun for Foxy and I, and you gave us some good games this year. The games that we covered. You know that those games are going to be back on in the off season.
It's nice to turn one on and see us win. I'd see us play all the time, and I was like, maybe we'll win this time. Maybe we'll win this game. But to that point, having you guys back this year was just monumental. You guys bring a color to our level of play, to our team that is unmatched anywhere. The effort you guys put into this thing and coming from your heart, you can hear it in the broadcast. We're very fortunate. We truly appreciate what you guys do for us. The players love to see themselves play football on TV, and without you guys, we don't have that avenue. And I want to thank you guys for that. And I'll tell you right now, we're going to negotiate for next year.
Oh, I'm sure we will, and I'm sure we can come up with something. The guys, that I noticed this year, that they enjoyed the game and they approached it entirely different, and that has to come from your coaching staff, yourself and the guys that are around you, and it starts at practice.
Okay, but they got to have that. They got to have that right here. They got to have that heart to want this thing. For me to sit here and say, oh, they play better and they play hard because I'm here, that's an egotistical statement to make. I think that this is a group of guys that just need to be said, hey, you have the ability. You can go out and make it happen. Let's do it. And, the coaching staff believes that we have the team to win, and we stand behind our players. And maybe that makes the guys believe in themselves a little bit more, but it's not hard when you got a group of guys like this that push one another.
Now, you're away from home a lot. Your players are, and I'm sure your wife puts up with this, comment on that, and maybe some of the other, maybe girlfriends or wives that might help out.
I'm very fortunate. My wife, Lori, is, I don't know. She's special. She lets me do. Maybe she's got somebody at home when I'm gone. I don't know. Maybe she's glad I'm on the road all the time. I don't know.
I think you hit the lottery with her.
Yeah, I did. Like I said, I'm an overachiever. Like Brad Miller said, that's an overachiever right there. And I'm proud to be an overachiever. I'll tell you, I'm very lucky. Lou Gehrig, when he did his speech about being the luckiest guy, I'll tell you, I'm lucky. I'm very lucky. She's very supportive of me. She doesn't begrudge anything that I do with this football team. She never nags at me about being too involved. Occasionally she'll get concerned about my health because I get a little bit too high-strung sometimes, but that's a good thing. I'm very fortunate to have her. As these guys that play, their girlfriends, their wives, that come out and support them and stand behind them, and it takes away from their summer, and it's a, we only get so many Saturdays. I read a thing about 1,000 marbles, I think it's called. That's for every Saturday in your life. You have roughly 1,000 Saturdays in your life, and that's not very many when you break it down. That's average of 72 years. Well, we spend a lot of Saturdays playing football, and we're very lucky that our families, support us and make it happen, because without them, we wouldn't be doing this stuff,
Coach, I think it was, after talking to you, I think it was a successful season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, am I depressed? Am I drained? Absolutely not. I'm as upbeat as I've ever been at the end of a season, looking forward to next year. In seasons past, it's been hard to even think about football, let alone prepare, for the upcoming season, not knowing what are you going to have, who's going to be committed, what kind of dedication are they going to show. I'll be dumbfounded if we don't have great numbers next year and improve vastly upon our record from this year. I think we're only starting to tap the talent level that we have around here, and guys are starting to think, hey, Lake City Stars football, they're not a joke. Let's go out and try out and play some ball and see if we can't wear the helmet with a star on it.
Now, in the off season, you do some stuff locally in the Osable Forks area. Tell us
myself.
Yeah. Tell us what you do in the off season.
Well, right now, I'm the assistant varsity basketball coach for the boys at Osable Valley. So that's a nice thing. It keeps me active during the winter. We stay involved in the youth, organization up there, and just do some refereeing and try to do a little assistant with the youth programs at Osable. But it's nothing more that any of these other guys don't do. I mean, they're all volunteering their time, and so. We'll take a trip as a team this year to the hospital during the holidays around Christmas and visit, pediatrics, and we'll visit the geriatric ward, and, hopefully we can get out and maybe do a few community things. If people need things, maybe we can be in that situation to go out and help them as a team. We want to be more than just a football team. We want to be an organization that is looked well upon and represents the community well, and no one's embarrassed to have a Lake City Star player or coach in their area, living by them or in the same restaurant with them. I don't want somebody to have to move and say, oh, he coaches Lake City Stars, and they're in a restaurant, move away from me. I want them to say, hey, Coach, how you doing? Way to go, keep doing things well. So that's about where we're at.
Well, on my report card this year, the head coach gets an A+. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. The only thing that's A+ is the broadcasting.
Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. I enjoyed this season. Looking forward to next season, and best of luck next season.
Thank you very much. We'll look forward to both you guys and your other two, your lovely companion, your darling companion, and the stat man back in the booth, and we'll be working on that during the off season. That's
our show for tonight. I'd like to thank Foxy for being on camera. Outstanding job, Foxy. I'd like to thank the Champlain Valley Fitness and Health Center for allowing us here tonight to do this show. And until next time, all I can say is good night, North Country.